Alright guys, so give you a basic how-to on getting your brakes done on your AMC Eagle. First, get your tire off. Pretty simple. Make sure you use jack stands. Don't rely on your jack, because that will probably fail. Then, you got two hex-shaped bolts. No, inner hex shape, like the Allen wrenches. There's one of them sitting right there on the top. And you got one right there. And that's it. You just gotta undo those two. I would put some PB Blaster on the ends, and then the inside you can probably see down in there where you hit the end of them. I would definitely do that just to make sure they come loose on you, especially with the bottom one, because you can see the strut rod is right in the way for any socket wrenches. Yeah, phone went sideways on you, sorry, but that's it, just those two bolts, and then you can get right at the pads. So if you just want to do a simple pad change, you can get right at that, and if you pull the pads off, you can just get the rotor out. And then I'll be changing the whole caliper, including the line itself, so I'll show you that real quick. At least not really on the video. I could try to. Here you got it, it's a 7mm. There it goes. And oh yeah, she's tight. Yep. Probably have to break her loose with a good breaker bar. That's a lot of air pressure that can't break that loose, so she's definitely tight. So we're gonna be soaking her some PB Blaster and letting that sit for quite a while. I can get my damn wrench off there now. But you get the idea. It's just these two bolts, 7mm, and the whole thing will come right off for you. I'll meet you there. Alright, got those bolts cracked out. I'll show you with the trick I used to get that bottom one, because that rod, the suspension component's in the way. I just put a little wrench over the Allen wrench itself. It's a small wrench, but if you got the strength, you can bust it loose. So now we get to take the caliper off, which should eventually, with a little bit of persuasion, get off of there. You might need to knock it off. Right tool for the job. Almost. Those damn bolts are a little fucking stuck in there. They're backed out as far as they can go. Squeeze her this way. Maybe. No, she's not. I gotta get in there and grab it. Gotta get in there and try to wedge those bolts to get them out the rest of the way, because they're already loose as they can possibly get. And they ain't moving any further. This top one has spun for like a good few seconds anyway. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, I'll have to try to wedge those bolts out. That was a bit stubborn, but if you can finally get it wiggled out of there with a bit of persuasion. Now this one you gotta really try to remember the clips on your pads here. You see how the clips are? Remember that. These things are a pain in the butt to get on once you get them off. So once you take these off, have a lot of luck. You see how they're positioned. Top one facing down with the open end outside. Bottom one, open end inside, facing upward. Remember that, because these are going to be a pain in the butt. But at this point, you're free to just go ahead and start taking these things off. The other side just kind of came apart just by touching it pretty much. Light. Where's my little wrench? This one actually seems to be doing its job. The other side just looked at it, it came apart. Got new ones of these anyway. There you go. Inner and outer are a little bit different from each other. The inner has holes on the pad. I'll show you here in a second. Now, these ones actually seem to be doing their job. Imagine that. There you go. Yeah, the inner one, you got those little holes on the end of them. The outer is just solid on the ends. These ones don't look too bad either. They're worn evenly. Imagine that. This one appears to be a functional unit. The other side was only worn on one pad and it was even cracked. Ooh, and this one even has a little shims on it for the rotor. Again, the other side didn't have that. What's so special about this side? Yeah, things look fine. I'll replace it precautionary because the fluid's so rotten. Won't hurt anything. But yeah, just go ahead and get the rest of these clips off. If you got new ones, you can just discard those. Now I have to get these off the way, but otherwise your whole rotor is free to remove. Just gotta get these out of the way. I didn't have these on the driver's side, but that's pretty much that. And then if you're just changing pads, you're good to go pretty much. Just put new pads in, new clips, maybe a new rotor. I would definitely try to get some a wire brush on these and clean up the ends, maybe put a little bit of anti-seize on them. That's where the pads kind of go sliding back and forth on. And if you are using a new rotors, make sure you clean them with brake clean before use. Also doesn't hurt to have anti-seize and clean up the inside of your caliper. Just a little bit of anti-seize though. And then, yeah, you're good to go. I'm going to just go ahead and replace the caliper in the line too, so I'll just disconnect it up there and just truck that whole thing off to the side. Alright, so got our new rotor in there. And you can see we cleaned up the ends where those brake pads are going to sit. You can see where they were sitting for a while. That's why I kind of want to put some anti-seize. It will kind of wear into the actual bracket here. And once that's gone, you could weld it, I guess, but it is cast, I think, so it'd be a little tricky. And then you gotta remember how these clips went on. Get your brake pads in there. I start with the outside one in. Go with that one first. Scooch this one over. And these clips are gonna really just keep forcing them apart and try to keep popping out of place. So you kind of gotta like constantly hold it. And it helps to wiggle the rotor around actually too. And you can get that, kind of get squared off, and then at that point you'll start dropping in the new caliper, and then it's really more just wrestling in so it gets more centered. It's mostly up to these clips. These clips aren't here, you just drop it in, but they're there for a good reason. So don't skip out on them. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to drop the rotor in place, and then I'll get the brake line set up, undo it real quick, and then throw it back on there. So fortunately, I really can't film that for you guys, but you get the idea. Alrighty then. Whoa! Bright light. Get that on the hook so you guys can't see. There you got it. If you got this part, this is where you get yourself a beer, because those clips, you probably now know what I was talking about with the struggle, trying to get those damn things in. But, there you got it. And I already had the hose pre-installed, so I don't have to worry about getting there and stripping that thread or anything, or cross-threading it. So now you just got to crack the line and undo the bolt up there. And then quickly unbolt it. Then start that and then bolt that up real quick and then finish tightening the line. Then you're going to want to tighten that one up real quick too, otherwise you're going to lose all your brake fluid. But before doing that, make sure you got enough brake fluid in your master cylinder, because if you run out there, you pretty much got to like bleed the whole system again, so don't want to do that. Well, it's daytime now. That's a good sign of things when time changes drastically on you, right? Man, I made a mess. Or I should say we. I had a buddy come out. I needed a torch. Had everything back together except the new hose. The end of the new hose. Yep. Let me show you the damage here. Come on, focus on me. Here. Focus here now. Come on. There. It's starting to come into focus. He really doesn't need to come into focus either, because you can tell. There she goes. Yeah, that doesn't look like much of a nut now, does it? This thing was completely seized solid, and this is the end that goes into the rubber flex line there. I've tried just about every little tool I can find and hammered it and everything. The one thing I didn't have was possibly a higher quality line wrench, because that's where it rounded off immediately, was with the line wrench. But long story short, we torched the fucker till the hose blew off. Then we had to keep torching it, keep spraying PB blaster, torch it some more, wiggle, 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 and it finally came out. Fortunately, at this point you'd have to pretty much either cut a line or just keep going at it till it finally breaks loose like we did. But I'm not going to reuse this line, fuck that. Especially with that nut on there, there's no way. There's no way you could reuse it. And as you can see though, I'm really lucky that it happened to be the shortest line there was. Because the distribution box is right on the other side of this fender well. And I mean right on the other side. It goes right through the fender. You can see it down there where I got a cap on where the line was. I tried capping the line, but it kept leaking out, so I had to quickly disconnect my master and cap that. Now that should have kept it from leaking anymore. Unfortunately, I think the paint down there and there is going to get ruined on the inner fender well, so oh well. I tried spraying every cleaner I had real quick in there. See what happens. So that was an interesting fiasco. I never bothered getting it on camera because I was just losing my mind, about ready to just throw a complete temper. And then it was just busyness from there on out. So I'm going to try to go run to Napa, get some rear cylinders, maybe some drums, and see if they got a pre-made line that's about a foot in length. And then I got some bending tools. I don't have the flaring tools though, that's where I'm concerned about, but it only takes a couple bends. Basically it sits in there like that. If you can imagine, here's a rubber end that goes to your caliper, goes to the firewall right around here, or not the firewall, the inner fender well, and that's where the freaking distribution box is. So the shortest line from the distribution box. Lucky me. Of course I never got the rear flex line on the back yet, and I'm not sure if I want to now. So parts are on store it is. And I might get myself a new filter too. Maybe some oil, I don't know. But that's pretty much a hold on things for now. At the end of it, I will eventually have working brakes. Eventually. So, I'll end it here, I guess.